Which of these sports cards, given their current values and where each player stands in their own respective sport, will be worth the most in 10 to 15 years? We ran a community poll with 5 of the most notable pro athletes under the age of 23. These were the results. And this got me thinking, what are these players' cards values right now anyway? And given how we think each player might be able to progress their career alongside the growth of the league that they play in, would it somehow be possible to project accurately what their cards, and therefore investments in them, would be worth a decade out? Who the hell knows? 48% of the poll said Victor Wembanyama will be worth the most in 15 years. I want to look up not only this top sapphire chrome autograph gold that at the time I'd researched this video, this card was worth $13,000, but I also want to look at other cards that maybe aren't as high end. These Victor Wembanyama cards make sense right now. It's because he's so fun to watch. He's gaining more and more confidence, and he's still growing into his NBA body. That is nuts to say, because he's already the biggest player in the entire league. The deciding factor with Wemby is his legendary level potential. Even if a portion of the next 10 to 15 years of his career has periods of injury, he can go down as one of the 3 to 5 most talented, gifted players of all time, pound for pound and at his peak. How long that peak can be sustained or prolonged is going to be key. And that gold chrome autograph that I mentioned in the thumbnail confirmed sold via auction for over $13,000. We were actually able to find that sale via 130 Point, which tracks auctions across multiple sports card selling sites. What's cool is that you can actually see the full bid history too, like the actual back and forth that people had trying to take this card down. Just kind of interesting to think of. This helps make sure too that every auction's fair and that there isn't anything sketchy going on with fluff bids. The conclusion here, I am not rich enough for Wemby. So Caitlyn Clark card values, try saying that 5 times fast, are on the higher end, but they actually seem like better value propositions than most Victor Wembanyama cards. The deciding factor for Caitlyn Clark is that in the WNBA, does it get any bigger than Caitlyn Clark right now? Absolutely not. Not even close. I think she dominates a market that needs its number one superstar, or in other words, as the kids say, she is him. And the style of play, too, in the WNBA makes it so that, she could have the longest and most productive, very lucrative career as possible, even with maternity leave, if that ever is a focus for her and her boyfriend, fiance, husband. I'm not sure what that situation is. I'm linking an article from Sportico, no affiliation there. It covers the effect that Caitlyn Clark has had on sports cards. There's a lot of interesting facts here, including how on the high end, multiple rare Clark cards have sold for $75,000 and above, which is more than her base on-court salary this season. Pretty wild to think of that. Maybe it's the reason, too, that she's signing all of these cards to begin with, to kind of recoup from what she's not making actively from her salary as a WNBA player. The conclusion here is Caitlyn Clark is going to not only be around for the next 10 years, but she's going to be the primary draw in an industry that needs a lot of new fans and that she just so happens to appeal to. Everyone. I would say buy where possible. So 12% of the poll went to Jayden Daniels, the number 2 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, and the rookie sensation quarterback for the team with the worst name situation in recent memory. The Washington Commanders, football team, Redskins, whatever you still call them or want to call them. The deciding factor with Daniels starts with how much of a dumpster fire the Washington football team, that franchise, is, and how desperately they need some credibility back on the field and off of it. The way Jayden Daniels has checked both of those boxes so far is the it factor. That Hail Mary to win it against the Bears was absolutely unbelievable, and that's the kind of freak stuff, in my view, that happens when superstars are being made right before our very eyes. I think if he's able to capture one Super Bowl, even one, in Washington, especially in the first 3 seasons of his career, think Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, I think he would automatically catapult himself past even multiple-time MVPs like Lamar Jackson. That's in terms of NFL popularity and card value. This is also assuming that Lamar Jackson doesn't win one this year or win one first. The conclusion here is that Jayden Daniels has sneaky elite upside fast for a really relevant sports market in need of success. However, I don't know how much his cards are going to be worth in 10 to 15 years, even if he does have the career of Russell Wilson. I would say invest for the next 5 years tops. A quick CJ Stroud mention as well. I don't know why I didn't think of having Stroud in there instead of Daniels, other than the fact that the Texans are the B franchise in the Southwest market, and I just like Daniels more. Another 12% of the poll went to Paul Skeens. So I would say the deciding factor is this. I don't know anything about Paul Skeens other than these two things. One, he throws heat, and two, Livy Dunn. The MLB has about 2.5 million active players. That's absolutely a real stat. So I really doubt that he's going to be all that relevant and worth as much to the average collector in 10 to 15 years. What he would have to do to justify me spending hundreds or thousands of dollars buying multiple Paul Skeens cards would be ridiculous for him to really stand out from the others in this sport over the next decade plus. The average span of an MLB pitcher's career in prime are much lower, much shorter than other positions in baseball. Guys blow out their shoulders, their arms all the time. So he's going to have to learn how to adapt his style and be effective in other ways on the mound when his body starts to slow down. I'm not saying it won't happen. It's just a tougher thing to bet on. And for those reasons, I'm out. But the toughest athlete to have voted on in this poll was Bronny James. 3% of the vote went to Bronny, and unfortunately, it's understandable. His card values make no sense. Shows how inflated money has become and what speculators, prospectors are willing to cough up in the very rare event that either his career is going to completely take off and he becomes the closest thing possible to his dad, or that somehow, for some reason, card prices will just continue to balloon and go up and up like everything else in life. But the deciding factor is this. It doesn't really matter if he ends up having an amazing career or an average one or a really generous one like he has so far, does it? He's the son of LeBron James. His value will always be tied to his dad's, whether anyone wants it to be. And LeBron will always be relevant even after he retires and, just casually becomes an owner of a team and assumes being a public billionaire. So, does Bronny have what it takes to follow in President James' footsteps? Find out after the break. I mean, that's the future for Bronny, so he'll always be valuable. If you like this video and want to vote on these kind of community polls, make sure you're subscribed and pull up our community tab. Start scrolling through some of the action.